Hey folks, Josh Ryan, Brio Farms. Another lawnmower video, so not in the field today. Go ahead and close the video down if you're looking for some soil health stuff. You're not going to find it with this one. Just going through, this is a deck off of Simplicity Regent, seen there. And I made a repair about a year ago. I'm just doing a video on it now. I wanted to make sure it was going to work out, but anytime I backed up with this mower and was turning at the same time, this is, I think, kind of maybe a larger deck for a Regent. This is a 52 inch. I don't think you see them too often with above a 48. But anyway, the deck would really move side to side. Like it would really kick out. Like all of a sudden you could see all of this top pulley while you're sitting on the tractor, and all the connection was up front was getting loosey-goosey, or so I thought. And then one time when I'm cleaning the deck out and I pulled it off, actually what was happening is this welded on bracket here was still welded on, but the heat affected zone right along the side, you're not going to be able to see it here, just not good enough light. Anyway, the deck had basically started cracking all along here, and so this whole thing was bending and flipping out every time I turned. I mean, it was so bad that the belt was hitting on stuff up underneath the frame, and it went all the way around and maybe to here, so only like this section here was holding it on anymore. So I cleaned all that up, welded it back together, ground it down, painted it. It's all covered with grass now, but if I had a little bit better light, you'd be able to, I don't know, maybe I can lift it up. Yeah, there you go. You can just see my weld down in there, but it wrapped all the way around. Anyway, I'm giving you this video so that maybe you can do this fix and prevent this from happening before it happens to you, in case you don't have a welder or know somebody that does welding. You'll see on the back of the deck, I bought these hooks at TSC, and I believe it's a 5/6, the label on it is 5/16 hook, and it also, but you'll just want to pull the bolts out and you can find out for yourself. So I pulled this, this bolt for the mounting bracket for the height was on both sides. I pulled that out. I do believe, man, I can't remember, to be honest, if it was metric or not. So you'll have to look into that with their thread checker that they usually have in the bowl dial. Anyway, you pull this bolt out, and you got to get one that's about a 1/4 inch longer in order to accept the thickness of this. But I put one there all the way on the outside, and then I got one on this side, another chain hook, because what happens is there's no support on this deck on the rear from going side to side, so it just keeps working this whole thing back and forth, and everything has to be held by this bracket up here, which just pulls on that. And then what it ends up doing, you'll see here, I got some new bolts under here, because it'll snap these off. It'll snap these off on the front of the deck that hold the mower on. It'll snap those off if it's a big enough deck causing enough problems. And the same thing on this side, I've replaced 2 of those. So you got to come up with a way to secure the deck and keep it from working back and forth. And once you do that, even though these Regents have a thinner frame compared to the Broadmoor, I have had no problems since. So you come in here, you're going to need 4 of those hooks altogether. I drilled a hole through the bottom flange right here. You'll just have to eyeball it to where the deck is once the deck is in there. So you want it basically in line with the hooks that are on the deck. But I'm going to say it's roughly 10 inches or so in front of this bracket back here that lifts your, oops, sorry about that. That's responsible for lifting your deck up that your cables are attached to. But as you can see, all you got back here is cables. Well, nothing prevents, so these aren't going to prevent the deck from going back and forth left and right. They're just along for the ride. Anyway, I drilled a hole through the flange, mount this guy here, right, and then bought some chain while I was there, and I apologize, I don't know the number, but it's big enough that it'll fit around those hooks. And what I really liked about it was the fact that the links are short, so that you can you got a better chance of fine-tuning the length. But what you're going to want to do, you get your deck set up and underneath there, and you'll put a chain around this end, and then you'll run it to the hook on the opposite side, basically making an X. And then what that does, you know, that prevents the deck from going too far that way. And then the chain from this side down to here, right, the lower right hand side, would keep the deck from going out to the right hand side of the mower. So yeah, so the far one there, left hand side of the mower, is going to go to the right hand side of the deck. So they're crisscrossing, so no matter what, the deck can't go left and the deck can't go right. You don't, and then since that makes it flatter, you know, it's reaching out over here, that allows the deck to still go up and down. If you try to go from right here to the outside of the deck, you know, the same side, that chain is going to be so vertical and so short that it's going to prevent your deck from following the contour. In order to have it tight enough that it doesn't go left or right, it's going to prevent the deck from following the contour of the yard, you know, as far as the height wheels. So anyway, just a quick video on what you can do. You know, take a look at the back side of your Regent mower or your deck, and if you know, maybe newer mowers have some type of rod or support that comes down here, but if you don't have that, I would highly advise getting something in place now before your deck breaks out, before your fasteners at the front break off and have to redo all that. And like I say, you know, we didn't have too many hours on this machine before those broke for the first time, and at first I just replaced them thinking that maybe I hit a large bump or something. And then I kept having to replace them. Like I said, 50-inch deck on a Regent, I think, is a little bigger. But even if you had a 48, I would consider doing this before all this breaks out on you. And you can get a lot more life out of this deck and these brackets. This mower doesn't have, it's a 2009, so it's, what, 13 years old, but it still gets along just fine. But partly because it only has, yeah, 328 hours on it. But I hope to get a lot more, and that's not going to happen when they're all busted up. So anyway, like I said, non-farming video, hoping to help somebody out though in the future. Josh Ryan, Band Brio Farms, Eaton County, Michigan, signing off, and I hope you folks have a wonderful day.